Welcome everyone to the clash between Pentala Harikrishna and Daniel Dardha in the third round of the FIDE World Cup 2025. Harikrishna is in great form in this tournament. He's already sacrificed one of his queens and played quite an incredible game in the previous round, and that was to beat Arseny Nesterov. And this time he's facing a 2005 born youngster from Belgium, number one player Daniel Dardha from his country. And Hari would definitely be a small favorite in this encounter. Let's see how things pan out. This is the first game of the two-game match in classical format. Daniel starts the clock and Hari opens the game with pawn to e4. Daniel Dardha, is an aggressive player, so every youngster tries to play something much more exciting and interesting than e4 e5, and he does the same with the Sicilian here. And Harikrishna goes knight to f3. Usually Hari is going for certain sidelines, you can say, in the main line, like for example bishop b5 check here, or play d4 and then take with the queen and stuff like that. Today he goes pawn to d4. Let's see if he is aiming to go for the main lines of the open Sicilian. Pawn takes pawn. And yes, knight takes d4. He's going in for it. The knight comes to f6, attacking the pawn on e4 here. And knight comes out to c3, defending the pawn. Daniel can play the Najdorf now with pawn to a6, or the dragon with pawn to g6, but he goes for the Sicilian classical with knight to c6. Now many ways to play here. Bishop e2 is the normal main line. Bishop g5 is the most popular line, called the Richter-Rauser. He goes for bishop g5 variation, and this is very active. Black generally tries to play e6, bishop e7, bishop d7, a6, stuff like that. White tries to play queen d2 and long castle. Leads to sharp position with opposite side castling. Hari brings his queen one step forward. And Daniel goes pawn to a6. This is in general a useful move, taking away the b5 square from many pieces, also creating a nice home for the queen on c7. Hari takes on c6 here. And now b takes c6 strengthens black's center considerably. You can see these three pawns. Black can play e5, d5 or c5. All moves are possible. And white is banking on their lead in development here. Long castle. And Daniel goes bishop to e7. And now Harikrishna decides to take on f6. And well, if you take with the bishop, then you lose the d6 pawn. So that's the reason why he takes back with the pawn, slightly breaking his structure. But on the other hand, look at these four pawns, taking away all the central squares. Bishop comes out to c4. And it's currently hitting the e6 pawn. Bishop comes to b7. White's idea generally is to play f4, f5 here. And this is actually a very, very sharp and interesting position. Rook he1 played by Hari. He brings his rook into the center of the board. And now Daniel goes queen to a5. One thing is clear, black is never short castling, because the queen will land here, the rook will swing up, and it will be a mate. So long castling makes a lot of sense here. King b1, and I believe long castle is a fine move here for black, leading to a roundabout even position. Daniel has 1 hour 26 minutes before this move, and now plays queen c5 after 20 minutes. But this move is not so good. He's played his queen to c5, but what exactly is the queen doing here is the big question. It's not so well placed, and Hari quietly brings his bishop back. I guess you can play long castle, but then knight a4, and suddenly the queen on c5 is a bit misplaced. You have to go back like queen a7. He plays pawn to d5, and Daniel is hoping for Harikrishna maybe to take here so that he can take back and have a strong center. Even that looks super risky, but Hari goes for a very interesting plan. He goes knight a4. Daniel can go queen b4, but I'm pretty sure that the queens are not going to be traded here. It's for sure. Every endgame would be okay for black, but middle game is where the key problems lie, especially with this king here. And maybe the move here can be f4. He goes for c4, further putting pressure on the center. Black's best decision is to take on c4, but instead goes rook d8, and now it's a decisive edge for Harikrishna. You can see that the black king is completely is going to be toasted here. So firstly, you take on d5. That's very clear. Take on d5, take on d5, and then this diagonal opens up. So let's have a look. C takes d5. He takes back, c takes d5. And now if only the bishop could pop out here and give a check, then the king will have to go to f8 and the queen joins in. So knight c3 is an excellent move. You cannot push the pawn forward with d4. Bishop a4 check is coming. So he tries to take on e4, attacking the queen. But guys, this is all but over. Bishop a4 check, king f8, and Harikrishna can now go in for the kill with queen h6 check, king g8. Daniel is like one move away from consolidating, hopefully, like bishop f8, bishop g7. Even that is difficult. But now simply rook takes d8 is very, very powerful, because then you can swing your rook over from e3 to g3. So it takes here, bishop takes, and now just let's go for it. Rook e3. It's almost a forced mate on g3. And perhaps the best move now is to play bishop c7 to stop rook g3 check. So he does go for it, but Hari can now finish off the game with a flourish, taking knight takes e4, threatening knight f6 check, and let's imagine you go bishop e5. I have rook g3 check. You take here, I take here. It's a mate. So that's the reason why he takes on e4. Rook e4 now threatening rook g4 check. There's no time for this queen to come into the game. That's a pity. We are on move 24. f5 played, and now Hari can win in many different ways, but the most beautiful way is to sacrifice a rook with rook takes e6, and he does it. Beautiful, because if f takes e6, you simply go bishop b3, and there's no stopping bishop takes e6 without giving up your queen, but that is just game over. So rook e6, and Daniel Dardha is completely lost here. He has absolutely nothing going his way in this game. Once he made that queen c5 move in the position, it was all downhill from there, because I think he just didn't understand the position, what was needed. He resigns. Harikrishna scores a powerful win with the white pieces in the first game, and will just need a draw with the black pieces in the second one. In this tournament, Hari has been on fire, sacrificing queens and rooks, and maybe he'll sacrifice the entire chessboard in this tournament, knights, bishops, and pawns. But for now, a big congratulations to the Indian Grandmaster, and hoping that he qualifies for round 4.
Hi everyone, we have Grandmaster Pintala Harikrishna with us, who scored the first win of the third round against Grandmaster Daniel Dardha. Hari, if you could tell us about the game.
So today was Sicilian classical opening. I mean, Daniel plays many openings in he tried something else against Gregory Oparin in the previous round, so it was quite hard to prepare against him. At the same time, when you play so many openings, it's quite hard to be, in depth in every single variation. So we checked. I mean, myself and of course, coach was also here. So we checked some new ideas, and yeah, I'm not sure if I did remember the notes which was sent to me, but somehow I felt the position is quite interesting, and I was on my own at some point, or maybe it was part of preparation. I have no idea. But the trick with knight c3 was quite nice, because it appears that black has solved all his problems, and maybe even trying to get upper hand, because obviously he has a pair of bishops. And yeah, at some point, maybe he should have played differently. Maybe after c4, he could take dc4 or something like that. But I still liked my position after dc4. But rook d8 is simply, I think, losing move.
How's your overall experience playing here at FIDE World Cup 2025?
So far, it has been great, and yeah, everything is good here. I mean, the fans' support is huge, and a lot of spectators, and uh, I don't have, so far quite positive for me, and all the arrangements are quite good.
10 Indians have qualified to the third round, and now including your Novi Chess teammates also. So, what does it mean that so many Indians are in the third round, which is the highest ever?
Well, it's nice to have 10, but I expected even more. But nevertheless, it's a knockout event, and it's just one mistake and you're out. So that's the advantage and disadvantage of knockouts. But of course, that's more thrilling for the spectators, and uh, for players, maybe a little bit dramatic. But that's how the knockouts are.
Well, I would like to mention you that on your previous interview, when you sacrificed the queen, one of the fans mentioned that you played like a Tal and you have Tal in your name because Tal is part of your name. Well, thank you very much, Hari Krishna, for your valuable time. I wish you all the best for the second game.
Yeah, and I also thank this person who made this comment. Thanks a lot. Yeah.